Can LSU win a national championship in 2023? Brian Kelly's squad is ahead of schedule from what they were 2 years ago, heading into last season. And this is a team that has a lot of exciting pieces. We're going to take a look at the schedule that they have coming up, as well as those pieces, those players that are going to play impact and big roles in making that happen. Arguably, the biggest game of the first week of college football is going to be LSU versus Florida State in Orlando. That is going to be a monumental game for both teams because LSU and Florida State have national championship aspirations in 2023. And that's going to be a really exciting game. You have two quarterbacks in Jane Daniels and Jordan Travis that are going to go back and forth. You have good offenses that can put up points, and you have talented defenses with future NFL players. This is going to be one of the most exciting games, maybe of the entire season. And it had mostly just because it has big implications. Whichever team is going to win this game keeps those goals on track. The losing team doesn't necessarily lose that goal of making it to the national championship, but they're going to have to win out from there. So that's what makes that game so huge. The next week, don't really have to worry about that. Third week is going to be a tricky one. Traveling to Mississippi State. Now, what is Mississippi State going to be without Mike Leach? They're going through to a new coaching staff with the passing of Mike Leach. So we don't really know what this team is going to be. Still a talented team. There's still good talent on that roster. So that's going to be one. And it's in Starkville. So you're going to have to pay attention and you're going to have to prepare like it's going to be almost as tough as some of these other games that we'll talk about here in a little bit. Arkansas is going to be an exciting team to watch. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what this offense looks like without Kendall Briles. What does KJ Jefferson do for a repeat of last year? If he can repeat that, that will be interesting. The next two games are probably more difficult than that one at Ole Miss and at Missouri. Ole Miss probably being the trickier one of the two. Again, LSU playing in the SEC doesn't do you any favors. Now, you can probably miss some teams just like they missed Georgia this year. So that's going to be nice. I know, obviously, if they win out and Georgia wins out, they're playing them in the SEC championship game, but they have to get there first. So those two teams in the East, those are two tough matchups. Auburn at home, another team that could be much better in 2023 under Hugh Freeze. That's going to be another tough game. Army, they should win that game. Obviously, there's no reason why Army should be in that game, but it's triple option. That's always going to throw things for a loop. But when you have the amount of talent that LSU has, there's no reason why that game should even be close. Then the next game at Alabama, the big one, the one that everybody will talk about as one of the biggest games, and for good reason. These two teams are really good. These two teams have goals of winning a national championship, and that's what makes this game so special. It's what makes this game so important because there's so much talent on the field. There's plenty of opportunities for both teams to showcase what they can do, and it's a game that's going to feature a lot of back and forth just because of that talent. These are two teams that are in different places. LSU is on its way back up. Alabama took a step back last year. Alabama is looking to get back on the top of college football with Georgia kind of sitting and holding that throne right now. So these are two teams that want to get back to the same place. It's just a matter of which team can actually do that. Now, if LSU is undefeated, this game is, I'm not going to say you can lose games, but that you can lose this game and not ruin everything. But if you lose the Florida State game, this game becomes a must win. You cannot have two losses and expect to be in the college football playoff. Florida at home, another tough East game. I think that you're looking at maybe a Florida team that isn't as good without Anthony Richardson. You look at the talent that they have, though. This could be a team that is still pretty good. I don't know what Billy Napier can do to improve them, especially with the loss of such a talented player at quarterback. But it is Florida, and I think you just can't count them out. Really, almost any SEC team you can't really count out. Next one against Georgia State, not really too many concerns there. That's going to be a relatively easy win for LSU. Final game, Texas A&M. Weird things happen in that game in the past. Maybe that's another game worth weird things happen, but we will see. Texas A&M is trying to get back to being a winning team again, but this is a team with a ton of talent. Jimbo Fisher and his staff have been recruiting really, really well, so that's another team to keep an eye out for. So the schedule is as tough as you probably expected it to be. There are a couple of games that are bigger than the others, mostly that Florida State game, the Alabama game, You can make an argument the Ole Miss game even too. There's plenty of talented teams that they're going to face, and the guys that are going to win them games, we'll talk about in just a second. It's just something that you don't really have to worry about too much because you know what to expect. The talent is there on all of these teams. The level of competition is known. It's not going to be a surprise week in and week out who's going to be good and who is going to give them a hard time. It's just a matter of being able to navigate that. I will tip my hat to Brian Kelly. I think that he has gotten LSU into a better spot than I anticipated them being coming into this year. I think that I expected this team to be, anywhere from 6 to 8 wins this past season, and they obviously exceeded expectations. And that's really good because now they can look at potentially winning the SEC and getting back to the college football playoff. When you look at what they have returning, that makes things even more exciting. Now, Jaden Daniels to me is it, I think I was lower on him than a lot of people were, and I didn't know how he was going to fit in Brian Kelly's system, in Mike Denbrock's system. Turned out to be quite a good quarterback for them. Now, that shouldn't be surprising now I look back at it with what Denbrock was able to do with Desmond Ritter at Cincinnati. I think Jaden Daniels and Desmond Ritter have similar games, so that shouldn't be that surprising. He's going to need to take a step forward, though. He's going to need to take a step to be able to bring LSU to another level. Now, winning 10 games is impressive, but being able to win the SEC, beating teams like Alabama and Georgia on a consistent basis requires another level of play. Now, when you look at what he has around him, that shouldn't be too difficult. The running back group is loaded. John Emery Jr. is back. I think he has the highest ceiling of the running backs there, but there are other guys that return as well, including Josh Williams and Noah Kane. You have a trio of running backs, and that's really good to create depth and continue going deep into the LSU schedule and making a run at a SEC championship. When you look at wide receivers, pass catchers, really Malik Neighbors really bounced back from a tough start against Florida State last year. I think that was really fun to see him produce 1,000 yard season after that tough start. And that's someone that you're going to pay attention to at the next level as well. He's an NFL talent. He has the ability to make big plays, and LSU is going to love what they see from him. If the Jane Daniels connection with Malik Neighbors is better than it was last year, then this passing attack is going to be really good, and this offense is going to be even better. Mason Taylor returns at tight end as well. And then when you look at the offensive line, Will Campbell is a name to remember in the future. When he finally is able to turn pro, he is going to be that's really fun to watch. Flipping over to the defensive side of the ball, Harold Perkins is an absolute monster. I think that the fact that he was second team all SEC indicates that he has another level to reach. He can be even better. He is extremely explosive off the line. He is really talented at making plays, and you saw that in a handful of games last year. And now he has a chance to be more consistent, to be a dominant force, and lead LSU's defense to another, just to reach another level. And then when you look at what's around him, they get Jordan Jefferson from West Virginia on the interior defensive line. Makai Wingo is also back. He was solid for LSU. The secondary should be fine. They get a few transfers from there, from even Syracuse. You look at Deuce Chestnut. You look at linebacker group, getting Oregon State's Omar Spates. There's a ton of talent returning. There's a ton of talent coming in from the portal, and there's a lot to be excited about if you're an LSU fan. When you look at what Brian Kelly has already done, you took the offseason that was kind of corny and you turn it into a really good season, and now you change the mindset coming into 2023. You change how fans should expect your team to play. You change what people think of you. You change your expectations, your goals, and a national championship should be the goal this year. And I think that there's the talent available to this team to make that happen.